Veterans Day Eve, and welcome to the CroftCast. Got the Big Kahuna here, filling in for John F. and Croft while he's on a sabbatical. Um, Pretty excited to be hosting the show while he's out of pocket doing Lord knows what. Hoping and praying it don't cost me any money. Anyway, a few weeks back, John and I were just chit chatting on the phone, and he had mentioned that he was going on vacation, and so we just kind of was spitballing things around. And he asked me, "Hey, how would you like to do the podcast?" And I went, "Me do the podcast?" And he went, "Yep, you do the podcast." And I went, "Yeah, you bet. I'm dying to do the podcast." And let me tell you why. Um, Years ago, when we moved into this house, because we have three children, they're all grown now, and they have become super adults, and I'm very, 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 very proud of all of them. And but when they were young, as with all kids, your house gets dinged up a lot and wrecked and broke, and John was really good at it. And so I thought about this. Here my son is. I'm an old guy now, which is great. I like being an old guy, and I hope I can remember to talk about this after a while, some of the great things about being an older dude. Um, but I remember thinking, I thought, so this is John's baby. And he has offered his dad an opportunity to fill in for him on the CroftCast. And I thought, boy, I hope I don't wreck it. Anyway, I'm going to get through it. Um, there's some things I would like to just get off right now up front, let everybody know. Uh, I don't. I don't really follow a plan real well. I got a lot of plans though, but I don't follow all of them real well because I've always got another plan in the wing waiting. So I'm probably going to be bouncing all over the map. Now, if you even listen to the CroftCast, you thoroughly understand how many rabbit holes John can go down. That ain't nothing. So bear with me. I'm going to try to stay on point, which will be basically impossible. I've never been able to stay on point, and I don't intend to start now, but I'm going to try till I get bored. And something that's really been on my mind a lot here lately is chicken, biscuits, and gravy. I love fried chicken. And my grandmother on both sides of my family cook the best fried chicken, biscuits, and gravy. Um, but there's something else. Squirrel. Fried squirrel. If you've never had fried squirrel, you're missing out on a true delicacy. Some even take it to extremes. They kind of go all Andrew Zimmerman on it and fry the little head and crack open the skull and eat the brains. Not that I haven't tried the brains. I just have a thing about I'm not going to eat brains. Now, if you want to eat brains, I'm cool with that. But I got to draw the line on brains, eyeballs, and other things. And I do like Andrew Zimmerman. And as a guy that has had a love affair with food, which is obvious, for as long as I can remember, I am not afraid to try anything. Um, so I just want everybody to be mindful that chicken, biscuits, and gravy or fried squirrel is good. Now, having said that and got that out of the way and got that off my chest, I'd like to talk a little about stuff. You cannot have too much stuff. And I'm going to tell you why. because it is better to have stuff and not need it than to need it and not have it. However, it is possible that you can have too much of other people's stuff. Now, a long time ago, in this very room, the little apple that didn't fall far from the tree, uh, when he joined the Marine Corps, I told him, okay, now before you leave, I need you to get this room squared away and get stuff boxed up and packaged up, and that didn't happen. And so one day I decided that I would go down to this very room and kind of square it away, box some things up. I knew that John was going to be getting married and he would probably want some of his stuff. That didn't happen. But anyway, I'm down here cleaning this room up, and I discovered things that had been living and growing in this room while this boy lived down here. I found, get this, chicken legs. Chicken legs. They were starting to petrify. In retrospect, I look back on that time and I go, you should have wore a hazmat suit. But it is what it is. He finally eventually got most all of his stuff. I'm sure if I really set my mind to the task, I could probably find some of his stuff that is now blended into my stuff. And after a certain period of time, that actually becomes my stuff. And inevitably, what I'm going to do at some point in time, I'm going to take everybody's stuff, but my stuff, and I'm going to put it out by the curb. And you may say, well, Kahuna, how come you're going to put it by the curb when you can have a yard sale? I don't have that much time in my life to have a yard sale and barter with somebody when I've got something marked for 25 cents. Inevitably, some snapperhead's going to go, hey, would you take less? It's only 25 cents. Tell you what, come back in about 2 hours and it'll be by the curb and you can have it for free. I don't do yard sales. Well, I have done them. I'm not going to lie. I've done them. I hate them. I don't know why anybody would want to do it. Moving on, I was thinking when I was reflecting on doing this show, how I would do this show as compared to how John does the show. And I've watched just about all of the episodes on the CroftCast. And I especially love the videos. The videos, I just love videos. And, it's okay to listen to somebody, but I kind of like to watch somebody. I'm kind of a people watcher. And so I'll tell you why I'm a people watcher. Because if I don't watch people, inevitably some person will come up to me, and there is no doubt in my mind that they should be locked up. But somehow or another, they find me. They always find me. And if there is a crazy person within 200 miles of me, they'll migrate to me. So when I'm watching people, I try to watch people from afar. Always take your binoculars with you. Don't get on the front row. Find the very back, darkest corner. That is one thing I will say for the mask. I've noticed since the mask from the Rona lockdown that nobody knows who anybody is. And I like that, but then again, I don't know who they are. And so I have a little pro and con on the mask wearing. I think it's foolish, ridiculous, and stupid, but I'll try to accommodate within reason. It's just a mandate. As long as it's a mandate, it's not a law, it's not a rule, it has to be enforced. Basically, I look at it like I do a stop sign. It's a suggestion. A stop or you're going to get hit. Like the red, white, and green light at the red light. I mean, yeah, you got to pay attention and stop, but really it's just a reference. It's to let you know if it's red, not a good idea. If it's yellow, probably need to proceed with caution. And if it's green, hammer down, baby. Get her done. The other day, I was going somewhere and I was late. And I've noticed that whenever I'm late, I hit every red light in town. And I rarely ever run late. I always, if I have to be somewhere at 11 o'clock, I'm going to be there at 15 till 11 o'clock. I think if you get there at 11 o'clock and you're supposed to be there at 11 o'clock, you are late. So I don't like to, I give myself time when I'm going somewhere. I'm anal about it. And when I run into every red light in this town on my way, just not even a half a mile, I think I was going to Walmart or Home Depot. And I had to stop at every one of them. And that took me and put me about 15 minutes behind. So I made a sidebar note somewhere. I have no idea where I put it. I certainly won't remember it. But from now on, leave 30 minutes earlier. I want to talk a little bit about tomorrow's Veterans Day. And we've all got friends that are veterans. A lot of us are veterans. All of our veteran friends have families. And there is absolutely, literally, nothing that we can do or say to show how much we appreciate these young men and women, and that past, present, and future, that are willing to put themselves in harm's way for something that we all believe in, or at least half the country believes in, and that's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And our men and women of the military have done this throughout our history. And they may have at times not really liked the mission, but they don't question the mission. They get out and they perform, and they do. And to me, these folks are the true essential people. They are our first line of defense. And I appreciate them so much. And when I do things, I try to be mindful when I'm out firing up the Barbie or I'm cooking the turkey for Thanksgiving. I'm celebrating with family and friends over the holidays. I try to be mindful of that mom and that dad, or that grandma and grandfather, that somebody's not at the table. The ultimate sacrifice has been paid. And we're living in a time where I feel like half the country is on track and the other half that's off track, and that would include a lot of our so-called elected officials. Never had skin in the game, and they really don't know, understand, or appreciate what we've got and what we've had. Yeah, America has got things in its past, and it's got things in its present, and it will have things in its future. It's not perfect, but it's the only country, and I've been in one or two countries, it's the only country where it's great. I mean, it's all about liberty and freedom, and think about voting, our right to vote. That's a pretty big deal, because there's a lot of countries that, well, they vote, but what would be the point since the election is already staged? And lo and behold, I'm watching this unfold on our TV in America. It's being staged and potentially rigged. And don't ask me, well, John, do you have any evidence of it? Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that something smells rotten in Denmark. What is the motivation for somebody to come to this country? Because they want to live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, where they can freely decide and pick who they want to represent them. And what I'm seeing is sad, because a whole lot of young men and women gave it all for us to be able to do that. Can't take it lightly. Got to take it seriously. Doesn't matter who you vote for. I don't care. I'm not going to hate your guts if you vote for somebody that I don't like. Part of the great thing about freedom is that, well, if you want to dress that way and walk that way and look that way, I don't have to like it. I don't have to embrace it. But it does not give me cause to do you harm. And there's no reason for you to get all up in my grill and not like me because of what I think, what I believe. When we lose that, we lose one of the things that make us great in spite of all our flaws. And no other country's got that, not a one. And here's a thought. If you haven't been out of the country, and if you haven't traveled and spent enough time in somebody else's country to see how it really is in their country, don't be knocking our country. I tell people this all the time. People go, well, we're going on vacation out to Florida. Got to hang out on the beach. Hey, if you ain't seen everything there is to see in Arkansas, which I will admit, not much, how about you take all the stuff in Arkansas before you plan that big vacation to Disney World? Now, I would suggest that once you have completed everything that there is to see in Arkansas, it shouldn't take you long. The next country I would go to would be Texas. You have not enough years in your life to experience everything that Texas has. And don't give me that hook 'em horns crap and, oh, I hate the Longhorns. I'm talking about Texas. I don't care what the Longhorns do. I don't like them either. But if we're not playing them, I could care less what the Longhorns do. But I do love the state of Texas. And I love the people in Texas. And I like the mindset of the people in Texas. I don't think that they're quite as crazy as we are in Arkansas. And that's probably because they got more stuff to keep them occupied, whereas we have less stuff. That made me think, talking about crazy stuff, a few years back, Karen decided that we really needed to do something on our anniversary. And it's not that we don't try to do that, but it's always something coming up that we can't do that. And so she was pretty adamant about it. It was going to happen. And so she got us a nice room up at Eureka Springs. And right there, it had a balcony, so I could sit out on the balcony 2 stories up, drink bourbon, smoke cigars, and I could watch the freak show. And they couldn't get to me. Had a great time, ate some great food, drank some good beer from one of them there microbrewery things. And ever notice how when they bring you the tray of the sampler tray, there's about 12 or more beers on it, and there's only like maybe 2 or 3 of them that you can get down. The others would be an acquired taste. I mean, you would really have to work on that for several days. And some of them, I think you could actually pour on your pancakes. They're like syrup. But anyway, we went to Eureka Springs, and Eureka Springs is a place, the northwest corner of the state of Arkansas is pretty interesting. I like to think of it as the Austin of Arkansas, because you've got this melting pot of yuppies, hippies, liberals, freaks, progressives, and it's the most conservative part of the state. And much like Austin, nobody kills each other over it. They sort of seem to coexist, and it works. Um, but I love that area of the state. It's my favorite part of the state. Uh, do I like it as much as I like chicken, biscuits, and gravy, or maybe fried squirrel? No. Uh, Getting back to that, do you know where you can get the best chicken and gravy and biscuits anywhere in the world? Your grandmama. Your grandmama makes the best fried chicken out there.